before I get into this video, I just want to apologise about the shaky camera. You know, I broke the threads on my tripod, so I can't really attach it to my camera right now. So yeah, I'm a bit stuck, like, but you know, I'll make do with what I've got. Right, getting into the video now. This is one of the cheapest things I've ever made. Yeah, it's so cheap yet effective. What it is, it's a homemade pistol crossbow bolt quiver. Now, as you can see, it's made out of a tin can. Well, the two main components for this, obviously, are your tin can and a bit of sponge. Now, as you can see, all it is, I've just cut the can in half. I've went round it with some scissors, you know, and just filed the edges down, so it's not sharp or you don't cut your finger on it. And I just punched 2 holes through so I can put my string in. Now, your string's entirely optional, but what you are going to need is some sponge. Now, the sponge I used is actually from a novelty stress relief thing, like some sort of chill pill, whatever. Don't care what it is, but what I do care is that the sponge was the perfect size for this can. Now, this quiver will comfortably hold 10 crossbow bolts. Now, this is generally a technique you'll want to do for putting them in. This will allow you to get the maximum room. Now, the bolts, you know, they're in there solid, they're not coming out, they're not going to fall out. You know, you can reuse this many times, you know, it's not going to fall apart anytime soon. Generally, when you're putting the bolts in, you want to push them in firmly and you want to leave them in there for a few days. You don't need to glue them or nothing, just let them sit in the sponge for a few days, let the sponge form to the shape. That way, it's going to be a bit awkward on camera, you can pull them in and out and they'll be fine. Not sure if you can see that, but it leaves like a little hole in there which you slide back in. You're not going to damage any surrounding sponge or anything like that, and you're going to be left with no marks or anything, so it's going to look neat and presentable. Now, I used to be using a crossbow bolt holder made entirely out of duct tape. As you can see, I had the holes there, and you know, it got the job done. It'll hold 8 bolts, you know, it's easy to access, but it was just starting to fall apart. The bolts would slide through. So I wanted something more rugged like this. You know, you can think it looks a bit silly. I know it does, but it gets the job done and it's cheap to make. In principle, it works the same as the larger bolt holders, like you get in the Armex Jaguar. It's obviously not as refined and doesn't look as good, but in principle, like I said, it does the exact same job. It's pretty much just all there is to say about it, really. Well, it costs less than £1 to make, if that. Really cheap. Doesn't require any tools, a pair of scissors, a paper hole puncher and some glue. Obviously you need your bolts as well, like, but that's pretty much it. Apologies about the shaky camera again, and just thanks for watching.